Hi, I'm Sawyer Knowles, and welcome to the development summary for Space Escape, the project that I've worked on for CS4099 Directed Study in Computer Science under the instruction of Dr. Kuhl. And this video is kind of a summary of the entire project and my development process. It's going to be a little bit more lax than the more structured devlogs that I've been doing, but also serve as the kind of cap for those. And yeah, so what's going to happen is I'm going to play a playthrough of Space Escape that I just did. And as it's playing, I'm going to kind of talk over it and explain my development process and anything that comes to mind. So it is a bit more like off the cuff than, once again, the structured devlogs. So let's get right into it. So here we go. Now, there is no sound of this playthrough. There's a lot of sound effects. But I figured it might be easier for you to hear me if there was no sound. But feel free to download the game and run through it on your own to really get the full immersive effect of it. And let's press play. But speaking of immersion, that's a big reason why I decided to use UE4 Unreal Engine for this project. I have previously done some projects in Unity in VR, not only in Husky games, but I attempted to do one for immersive virtual environments, and I actually ran into a lot of problems with that. So not only did I think that Unreal Engine, it's going to load here for a second, but not only did I think that Unreal Engine, provides a bit better visual capability for immersive VR projects, but I also wanted to kind of dive into it, and that was one of my main goals with this project, was doing a project in Unreal and learning blueprints, which was something that I hadn't done before. Yeah. So it starts off with this kind of monologue from your personal companion AI, Cosmo, who is, and the ship, Sally. Sally's just been struck by an asteroid, and Cosmo kind of serves as your guide. He'll occasionally give you hints, and so I guess that was one thing that I liked about this project was I guess I was able to dive a bit more into story. I have a minor in media production, so actually kind of coming up with a simplistic story that fit an escape room inspired puzzle game was something that I was really happy about. And of course I voiced Cosmo, so also getting to, voice act a little bit, that was sick. But yeah, that was really fun. The inspiration for this project is actually interesting as well. In that same immersive virtual environments class, one of my classmates did a VR escape room demo in Unity. And after my project, I guess didn't go as well as I had hoped, that kind of stuck with me because his demo was very nice. I had never done an escape room at the time, so I actually did a couple over winter break before I started developing. Yeah, there's no windshield, so you can just kind of throw things off into space. But I had done a couple escape rooms in kind of preparation for this project, and I guess I soon learned that replicating an escape room in VR is hard because escape rooms, they usually deal with more than one person. And you can have simultaneous puzzles happening at the same time. And so I guess from a design perspective, that had to be changed into more of a, straightforward puzzle game, I would say. But the time limit's still there. You still lose if you run out of time and stuff like that. I also thought the whole situation with the supernova was a good way to link it all in with the story. Now, we are diving into what I call Puzzle A here, the first puzzle, the fuse box puzzle. And a lot of these puzzles are inspired by just the resources and tutorials I could find online to learn blueprints and such. And so this was one that you'll find very quickly if you search VR puzzle Unreal Engine as a fuse box puzzle. And so I followed that tutorial and decided that, it was pretty good. It was pretty fun, and it served as a good first puzzle to not only get my feet wet in blueprints, but also, get the player used to it. And so really all you got to do is find 3 color-coded fuses and place them in the correct slots. Press the button and you move on. And so I decided to hide one. You saw in that secret kind of compartment, you had to press a button. One behind these boxes in that separate room that I added to this environment. The environment itself comes from a free asset on the Unreal Marketplace. And I just took the demonstration map and started developing in it because it just looks great. And then in addition to the skybox that I added, the space skybox, using a program called Spaceship, adding lightings and volumetric fog and whatnot, I think that it turned out visually just kind of stunning, which I was really happy with. I find the 3rd fuse here. It's funny, it's actually in this first area, so you don't even have to you don't have to wait for the opening to finish before you can find the first one. But it is tricky because you might not think to look there. And there we go. We've unlocked the systems key and we've opened the first door. Now, fun fact, I guess due to time constraints, I didn't actually get around to making it so that you have to have all 3 system keys in there, or all 3 essential process keys, placed. So if you want to speedrun this game, all you got to do is get the light speed accelerator and you're good to go. But now we're on to puzzle B. And puzzle B, I guess it changed a little bit if you look at the design document, but not much. Really, it just the changes came down to some development limitations, excuse me. Because the original, it's hard to articulate, but the original idea was actually not to have these pistons move, but have the platforms themselves move. But I soon discovered that if you just move all the platforms out of the way, you can just have the balls, the combination cores just drop straight through, and then how are you supposed to get it down the ramp, right? So this changed very quickly in development, and it's just a simple, move actor tied to a lever that I also found a tutorial for. I knew that once I found the lever tutorial, I wanted to incorporate it in some manner. And then, I don't know, this puzzle is also interesting to me because it's a lot of waiting for the pistons to move. I think that's something that the playtesters didn't necessarily like. They figured the pistons were moving too slow. So I did up the speed of them just a tad in the final build. But I don't know. I figured that it would burn some time, which I don't know if that's the best mentality to have. But it's definitely the most time-consuming one, in my opinion. I guess if you have a really hard time finding the fuses, then maybe Puzzle A could be a bit more time-consuming. But this one, you really do just have to wait for it. And so you can actually move a lot of the pistons at the same time, which will save you a lot of time, which you'll see me doing. To make sure that I, am not losing time, because if you run on time, you lose. I guess on the topic of playtesters, occasionally I don't know if well, actually it's muted. Occasionally the Cosmo will chime in and give you hints in each of the rooms, so that if you're completely lost, hopefully that'll nudge you in the right direction. And you get 2 hints per room, but one of the playtesters was kind of figuring out what they needed to do very quickly, and then once the hints came on, they were already like, hey, I already knew that. And so one of them proposed the idea of a hint button, which is more akin to what is done in escape rooms, right? You only get a hint if you call for it. And so having a button by the cockpit to press to get a hint, I think would have been a good idea, and something that I was leaning towards doing. But due to time constraints, I did not get around to it. I actually had to focus on getting the final version of it done before this week. So yeah, if I could go back and add that, I probably would. But I don't think I'll develop much more with this project. I did kind of get everything that I wanted out of it, which was a basic understanding of how to develop games in Unreal and VR in Unreal. Which, comparing this to my previous experiences with Unity, it's a lot more streamlined. Unreal does have their VR templates, which I used here, and even in Unreal 2.7, I think, or 4.27, they have an updated version of all of it, which is great. There's not a whole lot of tutorials out for it at the moment. So yeah. And then of course there's Unreal Engine 5, which I believe also supports VR. So they have a lot more options, and it's a lot easier to just kind of plug and play, in my opinion, than setting things up with Unity. But yep. So that's Puzzle B. We just got the navigation core, and we're going to take it back to the cockpit and install it. And now we move on to Puzzle C, which was probably the quickest to develop, but also one of the most fun. Also the puzzle that changed the most. So we've got these light swords here. Definitely not lightsabers. But I found a tutorial for these, actually. Someone, had a tutorial for how to make lightsabers, which I guess is not surprising due to the popularity of games like Beat Saber and such that use lightsabers in VR. But this puzzle was actually supposed to be a puzzle involving mirrors and a laser gun that would shoot a laser and reflect off the mirrors and kind of bounce to specific targets and break them. And then once you did that, you would get a lightsaber, and what I would call a defense droid would spawn, and you'd have to go up and hit the defense droid with the lightsaber, and then you'd get the lightspeed accelerator. I guess it didn't make a whole lot of sense in the narrative of things, but it was just one more thing for me to test out. Not only the lightsaber, but also, the laser gun and reflections and how that works. However, once I finally got to this point to develop Puzzle C, a lot of my time had been spent polishing the demo for the playtesters and such, so I didn't have as much time as I would have liked. So I did kind of rework it and scrap the idea of the reflections and go, streamline it down to the lightsabers. I found this nice engine model from another asset pack on the Unreal Marketplace, and then I made some custom materials, which you can see in there, in the lights and things, and so it makes it look a lot more futuristic. And I think the sheer size of the engine also adds to it. In my opinion, also makes a bit more sense. You have a lightspeed engine that needs the lightspeed accelerator to work, and that's how you jump into lightspeed to win. So yeah, that's me playing with the lightsaber there. Those buttons are actually another thing that I found a tutorial for, and that became very helpful because I could just have the blueprint and copy it, and then change any functionality that I needed. Back to Puzzle B, back to Puzzle A. Oh yeah, the timers were kind of fun. I had to use Unreal's real past time, or past real time, or something like that, to get it to run accurately. Because in the demo build of the game, I was just using event ticks, and I didn't think to use time.delta time or whatever to line it up correctly, and so the timer was about 10 minutes fast. So both my playtesters, quote unquote, ran out of time. But it's fixed now. Now that I actually use real time and display that properly. So yeah, and you see I ran through it in about 10 minutes, maybe 11 minutes there. But that's of course me knowing everything. So I think the time limit is pretty good. Once again, Puzzle B is really kind of a bottleneck. You really have to wait for a long time. I think Puzzle C is pretty self-explanatory and pretty fun. After you get through waiting through Puzzle B, you get to use these lightsabers and just slash these rocks. And oh, I forgot to add, there was a little Wheatley there. Portal was kind of a big inspiration for Cosmo GLaDOS and stuff like that. And also the fact that it's a puzzle game. But yeah. And yeah, we have credits here. This project was a lot of fun to work on. And I definitely, got through all that I wanted to get through. I got all that I wanted to get out of it, which was great. And I think that I'm most surprised is just, once again, the visuals of the game are amazing, in my opinion. But I am using asset packs, so I will, credit where credit's due. But yeah, kind of goes to show, if you find the right pieces and put them together, you can actually create something that looks really nice. And this is coming from someone who's a programmer, not necessarily an artist, at least not a 3D artist. But yeah, thank you for playing. Thank you for watching. This has been Space Escape, and this has been my Space Escape development summary. And thank you.